Ah yes, Logan Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer turned podcaster turned WWE superstar turned whatever gets him clicks next. Because apparently all it takes to be a top tier wrestler these days is a fan base of 12-year-olds and a prime energy drink. He's everything wrong with modern wrestling, isn't he? No indie grind, no long road stories, no dusty bingo halls or 300-day tours, just a rich kid who vlogged his way to the main event. He's a narcissist, a clout chaser, a walking PR nightmare with a punchable face. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've heard the accusations? But let's set emotion aside and look at the facts. Because while the internet hurls insults and the industry whispers behind closed doors, Logan Paul has quietly built a case that deserves to be heard. Not just in views, not just in moments, but in performance, in dedication and in impact. So today, I'm not asking you to like him. I'm asking you to look at the evidence and decide if Logan Paul might just be one of the most unexpected assets WWE has ever signed. This is the Unpopular Fence, and today we're doing something wild. We're defending Logan Paul. Exhibit A. Logan Paul has done more for WWE in 2 years than most mid-carders have done in 10. He brought millions of new eyeballs to the product, he generated legitimate mainstream headlines, and unlike most celebrity cameos, he didn't just show up for the check. He showed up to work. He took real bumps, he trained with Shawn Michaels, he sold it like a seasoned pro. This wasn't an influencer tourism, it was commitment. Exhibit B. From debut to ring general in 3 matches. Let's talk ring work. Logan Paul made his clear in-ring debut at WrestleMania 38, tagging with The Miz, and within minutes it was clear. He wasn't just good, he was unnervingly good. Clean timing, sharp punches, picture-perfect frog splash, springboards and buckshot lariats like he's been doing it for years. And most importantly, a natural heel presence that couldn't be taught. By his 3rd match, WWE trusted him to headline Crown Jewel against Roman Reigns, the undisputed champion. That's not a marketing fluff. That's not politics. That is real talent. Exhibit C. He gets heat. The right kind. Logan Paul gets booed loudly. Not because he's bad at what he does, but because he's so good at being hated. In an era where heels get cheers and villains sell merch, Logan does something rare. He draws genuine heat. Not ironic cheers, not polite applause, but full-throated boos. He's the guy who fans want to see get knocked out, but when he finally does, he sells it like a pro. That is wrestling psychology 101, and Logan gets an A+. Exhibit D. US Champion with purpose. 2023 Crown Jewel. Logan beats Rey Mysterio for the US title. Twitter erupts. He skipped the line. He buried Rey. This is a joke. But here's the counterpoint, and it matters. Rey Mysterio didn't get buried. He passed the torch to a younger star on a global stage. That is what legends do. That is what Rey has always done for the business. And Logan, he made the US title relevant again. Every defense had a buzz. Every promo became a viral moment. Every feud had mainstream attention. That is value. You don't have to like the verdict, but you cannot ignore the evidence. Exhibit E. Wrestling comes naturally to him. Call it blasphemy if you want, but the comparison stands. Logan Paul picked up professional wrestling faster than anyone since Kurt Angle. Ring IQ? Check. Promo timing? Check. Match pacing and crowd manipulation? Check. Knowing when to shut up and sell? Triple check. This isn't someone pretending to be a wrestler. This is someone who became one. The frog splash with the GoPro? The Ricochet rumble spot? the clean buckshot lariat. These are not flukes, these are statements. Exhibit F. He elevates his opponents. Logan Paul does not bury people, he amplifies them. Ricochet got the spotlight he deserved. LA Knight got heat by the gallon. Logan is the perfect final boss for rising babyfaces. Cocky, privileged, hateable, but just vulnerable enough to lose when it matters. That is classic pro wrestling storytelling, and Logan plays his part perfectly. Let's talk about AJ Styles against Logan Paul, and this match had the most heat in a negative way as most fans didn't want to see it. And to be honest, the match's pacing was kind of slow. The criticism was that Logan Paul does not belong in WWE. There's plenty of online hatred for Logan Paul. I understand that. A lot of people just call him a celebrity wrestler who only gets spotlight because of his fame rather than his wrestling skills. People also argue that this was just a cash grab for WWE. People hate the fact that Logan Paul won. Why? Because Logan Paul is still seen as a divisive figure due to his celebrity background and very limited wrestling experience. People also believe that Logan's been handed wins over real wrestlers. Fans could cry favoritism or say Logan's only winning because of his fame. As he beat AJ Styles cleanly, people call that disrespectful to a full-time talent who's grinded on the road for years and years and years. However, I want to argue, just have a look at the springboard moonsault by Logan Paul. Have a look at some of the wrestling techniques and moves he executes in that match. They are all of a top-class wrestler, and him winning is not disrespectful, it's a strategy. WWE is about moments, and Logan is one of the most natural heels in years. Him beating AJ has made fans hate him even more, which was the goal, and he has earned the spot, let's be real. He is not a one-and-done celeb. He has had incredible matches with Roman Reigns, Ricochet, and Seth Rollins. And let's be real, AJ Styles losing does not diminish his legacy. In fact, putting over Logan is a veteran work, and it keeps Styles fresh for one last big run. And to conclude on this match, let's be real, Logan Paul winning gets headlines, which brings even more eyes to the product. Look, I get it. You want to hate Logan Paul. He's the loud YouTuber who boxed a legend, turned Prime into a personality cult. He did not grind through bingo halls. He didn't spend 10 years wrestling in a gym for gas money. He just showed up and now he's in the main events. It feels unfair, it feels wrong, but feelings do not change facts. Logan Paul did not waltz into WWE and get handed success. He earned it in front of millions, with every single person hoping he'd fail. And what did he do? He did not crumble. He delivered. He hit moves cleaner than veterans. He understood wrestling psychology better than half the roster. He trained with legends, sold like a pro, and elevated everyone he worked with. You think that's luck? That is not luck. That is talent meeting pressure and coming out stronger. He wasn't supposed to be good. He wasn't supposed to be this smooth, this hated, disrespected, but here we are. He made the US title matter. He made people feel something. He made WWE fun to argue about again. So yeah, boot him, hate him, call him a fraud, a clout chaser, a shortcut taker, but deep down, in that part of your wrestling fan brain that still loves a good story, you know that this is it. This isn't a sideshow, this is a villain you can believe in. This is a superstar built for the modern era. This is the future, and the future punches you in the face with a GoPro strapped to his chest. He's not just a YouTuber, he's one of the best. Ah yes, The Rock, Dwayne, I'm in every franchise now, Johnson. The guy who buried young talent, shows up once in a decade, and killed Cody's momentum. The man whose mic skills are outdated, whose moveset is basic, and whose return in 2024 made wrestling fans everywhere scream, go back to Hollywood. And the guy who did not turn up to WrestleMania 41. Sounds like someone he's defending, and luckily, that's what we do here. Welcome to Unpopular Defense, where we dig through the hate and come out swinging. In today's case, The Rock didn't ruin WWE, he helped build it. Let's rewind to the late 90s. WWE was getting stomped in ratings by WCW. Stone Cold Steve Austin lit the fire, but The Rock, he was the gasoline. By 99, The Rock wasn't just a main eventer, he was a phenomenon. His charisma, his promo ability, the way he worked the crowd was unbelievable. It was unmatched. The guy made calling someone a jabroni into pop culture. And let's be honest, Attitude Era WWE was chaotic. You needed someone who could outshine chaos, hold the mic and deliver pay-per-view bangers. The Rock was that guy. Now here comes the classic hate. The Rock only has 5 moves, right? Because apparently a wrestling match is only good if you can hit 17 Canadian destroyers in a row. But here's the thing. The Rock wasn't about moves, he was about moments. Look at his matches with Triple H, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho and Stone Cold. Those weren't just technically sound, they were electric. The crowd lived and died with every near fall. The Rock didn't need 50 moves when he could get the loudest pop with one eyebrow. Also, he sold like Shawn Michaels on Red Bull. Go rewatch the stunner bumps. This man made getting hit look like a performance art. Now let's address the buried young talent narrative. Did The Rock beat people? Yes, he was a top guy. That's kind of how that works. But go back and look, he made stars too. Chris Jericho beat him clean in the main event of Vengeance 2001 to become the first undisputed champion. The Rock put him over on his way out to Hollywood. Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam 2002. The Rock knew the company needed a new monster. He passed the torch and took the booze with him. Did he beat Punk in 2013? Yes, but let's be real, that wasn't Punk's peak getting killed. That was The Rock being used to set up the biggest box office main event in WrestleMania history. That's not burying, that is business. Let's talk about the so-called hijacking of WrestleMania 40. If you ask Twitter, X, The Rock didn't just return, he committed a crime against storytelling. He stole Cody's momentum, he forced himself into a story that wasn't his, he ego-tripped his way into the main event. But let's clear the smoke. First, The Rock didn't hijack anything, he added stakes. He injected heat. He turned a great story into an all-time epic. The moment he walked into the Bloodline saga, the tension multiplied. Suddenly, it wasn't just about Cody finishing the story, it was about legacy versus legacy, tribal pride, generational power. You don't get that kind of storytelling without a titan like The Rock. Second, he didn't take anything away from Cody. He set the table. His heel work lit the match. His promos made Cody's mission feel urgent, personal, inevitable. And then, when it mattered most, he stepped aside. Didn't steal the title, he ate the heat, he delivered a dream match, and then let Cody rise in the main event. People forget, this is business. And The Rock brought eyeballs, media attention, Hollywood coverage. Without him, WrestleMania 40 isn't the biggest of all time. Without him, Cody's moment doesn't shine nearly as bright. People said Cody was being overshadowed, yet WrestleMania 40 ended with fireworks, confetti, and 1,000 Cody chants. That's not sabotage, that's spotlight sharing. And now WrestleMania 41. The Rock wasn't even on the card, and suddenly the narrative flips again. He took too much spotlight at 40. They said, now he didn't show up enough. But let's keep it real. The Rock didn't vanish, he passed the torch. Quietly but deliberately. His work in 2024 didn't just elevate Cody, it planted seeds that made Cena's heel turn possible. Think about it. The Rock cracked open a door to morally grey storytelling. So when Cena flipped the script, it didn't come out of nowhere. That edge, that bite in Cena's promos, it felt believable because The Rock made it safe to cross that line again. Also, the crowd's dynamic had changed. They had seen The Rock turn on the fans. Cena stepping into the anti-hero lane didn't feel forced, it felt natural. And The Rock helped lay that groundwork. Just because he wasn't in a ring at 41 does not mean he didn't move the entire chessboard. Sometimes the most powerful player is the one who exits the spotlight to let the ripple hit harder. We saw the interview at Pat McAfee Show and he said the same thing. He does not believe he needed to be there. He wanted to give that moment to Cody, but more importantly to Cena for his record-breaking win. It's so easy to hate The Rock now because he's so big, but don't forget, this is the guy who's done more for WWE's brand than almost anyone. He brought Hollywood attention to wrestling and remains one of the few wrestlers non-fans still recognize. That visibility matters, especially in today's streaming, sponsorship heavy world. Almost every time he comes back, ratings spike, tickets sell. WrestleMania 40 Night 1 and Night 2 were the most successful in WWE history. You think that happens without The Rock's name on the card? No. Here's the truth, The Rock isn't perfect, he's taking L's, he's had clunky promos, he's dipped out for movies, but when he's in the ring, he gives everything. He didn't kill the business, he elevated it. He didn't bury talent, he sharpened them. And if you're being honest, without The Rock, WWE might not even be here in the same way. He got booed at 40 and ghosted at 41, but the echoes of his impact still shaped the main event. So next time you feel like hating, ask yourself this: would your childhood or even your current storyline have hit the same without The Rock? Because mine sure wouldn't. If you liked this defense, hit that like button harder than The Rock hit Austin with that chair at WrestleMania XL. And remember, the truth is not always popular, but it's worth defending. This is an unpopular fence, and I just laid the smackdown on that narrative. Hogan buried talent? Lesnar, you annihilated Hogan in 2002, leaving him in a bloody mess and refusing to even pin him. He just choked him out like a predator playing with his food.